Okay, welcome everyone. John Denton here, and this webinar is for all of my mentoring group participants, coaching and consulting clients, and invited guests. And it's based upon the content that we covered in a recent business owner mentoring group workshop. So today I'm going to be talking about Marketing 101. And it's marketing is a massive topic, and there are lots of disciplines, specialized disciplines within or underneath the umbrella of marketing. So we won't get into a lot of detail on some of them or a lot of them, but again, you can request a future session where we can spend time dwelling on different things. Next month you're going to get Digital Media Marketing by Peter, which will be a pretty full-on session, so that'll cover off that discipline. Before we get going, let's just remind everyone about a bit of housekeeping and how the webinars run. So on your screen you will have a control panel which you can expand or close down using the white arrow on the orange background. Your microphones are all muted at the moment, and I can turn them on. If you are absolutely desperate to say something, please press the raise your hand button or type something into the chat or question box there that you see on that screen, and when it's appropriate I'll turn your microphone on. So let's get going, and what we're going to cover today is obviously some content from the workshop, as I said, some new content and things that I've added. We'll have a question and answer session, and we'll talk about preparing for the next workshop. So this is a bit of a reminder of where we're at. So way back in the beginning when we started the group sessions, I talked about the 5 pillars of a business and how different personalities suit different parts of the pillar, and you're probably, as a business owner, excellent at 1, possibly 2 of these, but definitely not all 5. I don't think the person's been born yet that can cover off all 5 at an excellent level. Today we're going to be talking about marketing, which is S&M, sales and marketing, different topics, and today is Marketing 101. I started the session in the workshop by getting people to put 9 dots down on a piece of paper and gave you the task of starting anywhere on those 9 dots and with 4 straight lines, only going forward and not lifting your pen off the paper. Draw straight lines through all 9 dots. 4 straight lines, only going forward without taking your pen off the paper or going back over a line to cover all 9 dots. And if you remember, it went something like this. I'll attempt to do this on the screen. So the solution went something like this, and forgive my shaky handwriting here. So yes, not very straight, but that's just because it's difficult to do this with a mouse. So that's 3 straight lines, and then the 4th to cover off the last of the dots went like that. So that's the 9 dots exercise. Yeah, sorry about those squiggly lines. I must be nervous or something. Anyway, the point of it was to explain that I don't think anyone got it, or maybe one person got it. In a group of 10 or more, we usually get one person who comes up with it after enough time. But of course, the message and the learning from it is that you have to think outside the square. Because if you try and stay inside the square and join up all 9 dots with 4 straight lines, it's impossible to do. And it's the same in marketing. That's the message. We need to think outside the square. We need to think differently. And just to position our business, we need to think, how can we position our business differently to be able to stand out from the crowd? So you can see the guy in the statue here. I'm not sure why I put that there, but he certainly stands out. He's only got half a right arm and a pigeon sitting on his head. Anyway, in the next one you can see that there's one different colour there. So how does your business stand out from the crowd? You know, in terms of your product offering, your service, why should people buy from us rather than the competition? How do we make ourselves different? It's generally not a good idea to compete on price unless you're a Bunnings or somebody. So don't make price your differentiator, not low price anyway. Maybe you make high price your differentiator. That would be a good idea. So what do you do to be different? Then we have to come up with something different and let our prospects know about it. So marketing is about communicating what we do with these prospects. Okay, so let's have a quick poll before we move on. And the first one is to find out what has been your best one or two marketing strategies up until now. And you've got some options there. So what have you done that's worked well for you or you felt comfortable with? Have you done print media and magazines? So just click away when, and if it's none of them, then don't click any of them. Is it print? Is it TV? Social media, the free version? Social media, the paid version? Google AdWords? Or don't click anything if you haven't really done any marketing to date. And let's see, I'll close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Closing the poll now. And let's have a look at the results. Okay. Interesting. The results should come up in a sec. But basically what it's showing is that 33% have had success with printed media, 33% with social media, and the rest don't appear to have done anything at all. So print media, magazines, newspapers, flyers, and the free version of social media. I apologize, I don't know why that's not coming up on your screen, or at least it's telling me that it's not coming up on your screen, but I've got no idea why. So print media, magazines, newspapers, flyers, I would expect that. Social media free, yep, I would expect that. So I hope this is coming through fine for you. Let me just get some feedback. Raise your hand if that looks okay, if you're seeing the normal sort of slide screen there. Okay, it's only showing me that it's showing you half the screen, but that's maybe a fault at my end, or with the system, sorry. It's okay. So we had Penny Askin come along and present to the group, and Penny was all about image, branding, and making your business look professional. And of course that's a very basic sort of thing that any business needs to do, is to get the image right and get everything looking professional and making sure that people get a good first impression of your business. So this was an example that Penny gave. I'll run through two of her examples, which I think highlight this. So this was the before photo. This was what the logo for Hill's Seafood looked like before Penny got to it. And then the one that Penny came up with, which they accepted, was this one, which is a lot cleaner, tidier, and it talks about produce because they don't just do seafood and fish, but they do all kinds of other things as well. On their vans, initially it looked something like this, and then with the new logo they were able to make it look like this. So that's good branding. The logo's on there over on the left hand side, and then you've got something that relates to the logo but shows that they do other produce as well. And then of course once you've come up with your your branding and your logo, then it's about making it consistent all the way through the business, which is what the screen is showing here. So everything that goes out, and you would even do something similar on your email signatures and things like that. Get everything looking consistent. Another example that Penny gave us was spotless dry cleaners, and I actually went past this place the other day and saw that. So again, it stands out, it's different, it's memorable, it sticks in your mind. And one of the ways they used this was on their van, by doing a wrap on their van. Again, if you see that in the street, you remember it, it stands out. And it looks professional and meaningful. So just to summarize some of the things that Penny gave us was to ask, is our visual logo memorable? Is it timeless? In other words, it's not going to date or age, at least too quickly. Is it unique? So does it stand out from everybody else's? Is it effective in communicating what you do? And is it stylish and strong? Those were the points that Penny made for us. And what are the keys to successful brand communication? And Penny said it's three things. Brevity, so don't go on and on and on. Clarity, be very sincere, very clear, and be very consistent. And Penny kindly gave, I think, just about everybody in the group some feedback on their current logos and marketing and things like that. So I hope you guys got a lot out of that. Penny certainly doesn't pull her punches when she's giving feedback, which is great. And if you have a tagline, or if you're creating one, then does it pack a punch? Or is it just weak and ineffective and the same as everybody else's? So in the end, you'll be judged by the things people remember, and your logo is one of them. So it's very basic. Logos and designs and branding don't get you sales. They don't get you leads necessarily. They might get you leads. Depends how you use it. But it's important to look good and to be remembered, and for it to communicate something about what you do. So anyone who hasn't contacted Penny or wants to get in touch with Penny for any follow-up, then I suggest you go through her website, which is pinkpiranha.com.au. So back again, when we started the workshop sessions, I said that business is simple. It comes down to two factors, maths and psychology. So maths is getting all the numbers right, charging the right amount for your product or service. It's also about knowing the rest of the numbers in your business and what makes your business tick and how you can make some good decisions. More of that in a future episode. So they're the two things you need to get right. And again, it's simple in that you either make stuff or you develop a service, you sell stuff, and then you manage the money that you get in from it. I like dumbing things down into simple terms. So maths and psychology. And this again is a bit of a refresher, but if you get the maths and psychology wrong, then you don't really have a business. So focus on getting those two things right up front when you start the business. If you get the maths right but the psychology wrong, then you tend to go out of business slowly, because you got the pricing and everything right, but you're probably not getting too many leads and selling much stuff. If you get the maths wrong but the psychology right, you could go out of business quickly, because you're going to sell lots and get lots of products and services going out the door, but you're not going to be making good money from them. So again, pretty basic, but if you get the maths and psychology right, then you're going to have a successful business. So a bit of revision there, a bit of spaced repetition, but worth covering. So let's look at marketing. A lot of people get quite emotional about marketing, or get stressed about it, have lots of very strong views on it, that's for sure. And some people seem to think that marketing is persuasion and or manipulation. interesting that it's really both. It can be either or both. The thing is to get over it. It is persuasion. If any of you watch the checkout program on ABC, then you'll see on there how big companies persuade us to buy and even manipulate us sometimes into paying more money for things without any real added value. So there's a lot of psychology involved. There's a lot of, we're bombarded every day with inputs to try and persuade us to buy stuff. And there's a great book called Buyology, B-U-Y .O-L-O-G-Y. And it says, the subtitle is How Everything We Believe About Why We Buy is Wrong. It's also a good example, by the way, of headline and subheadline, because biology spelt like that is what got my attention. And then when I read the subhead, How Everything We Believe About Why We Buy is Wrong, I just had to buy the book. So it worked. But it's a great book, and it explains in there, from scientific research and monitoring people's brains and emotions and reactions to different things, how we are manipulated into buying things when we walk into stores, the use of smells and sounds and sight and all the different senses. So it's happening, guys. Just accept that it's happening. These marketers are playing with our senses. So it can be persuasion. It's motivating us and people to buy your product or service. And sometimes, sadly, it gets down to manipulation as well. People manipulate us and make us do things, and afterwards we sometimes think, why on earth did I buy that? Or why on earth did I do that? Why did I make that decision? So there's lots of forces coming to play here. The more you can know and use and be comfortable with, the better you can set up your marketing in your business. So, persuasion, motivate us to act or buy. Based on, I'm going to talk about 4 of the primary emotions which persuade people to buy. Because buying decisions are mostly made on emotion and then justified with logic. Not always, of course, but that's a generalization. But again, quite often we're motivated to buy through fear. And that could be a genuine fear, or it could be a conjured up fear. And greed is a big motivator. In fact, the second biggest search term on the internet after pornography and pornographic terms, apparently, is greed, the ability to make money overnight while you're asleep without doing anything. All those get-rich-quick schemes, which generally don't work. But they are very, very popular when it comes to searches on the internet. So greed is a good motivator. If you can help your clients make money or get additional value, then they're more likely to go with you and make a decision. Pain, of course, is a great motivator as well. So if you can cure somebody's pain, take away their pain, then you're going to motivate them to do business with you. And jealousy is the final one that I'm putting up here. There are others, but again, it's that keeping up with the Joneses, keeping up with your peers, keeping up with other people in your group or whatever. That they've got an iPhone 6, well, I've got to get an iPhone 6 type persuasion. So it comes down to, when you're doing your marketing, targeting your marketing, a direct response marketing. So in other words, targeting directly at the people you want to, and who are most likely to buy your product or service, and getting a response from your marketing. And based on emotion. That's what that's saying there. I've already mentioned that. People buy generally on emotion and justify with logic. It needs to be directed and targeted at a specific group of people, and you need to be able to measure the response that you get from your marketing. Otherwise, you're just blowing your dough. We're not big enough, any of us, to do a Nike or a Coca-Cola type branding, image, logo marketing. We want people to pick up the phone and call us. A good example of successful marketing, and I guess everybody uses this one, is Apple, of course. And having a niche, an inch wide and a mile deep, is a great place to start. You know, Apple know that they're not going to sell their products to everybody, but they've got a core niche in the market that are going to buy. They have a hungry crowd. I use this term a lot when I'm coaching clients and my private clients. I'll ask them generally in the early days when I'm starting off with them, so who's your hungry crowd? Who are the people that are beating your door down and calling your phone continuously trying to get your product or service? And you need to think about that and drill down into, well, who is my hungry crowd? So here, I'm going to get a better version of this photo, I think. This is the opening of the Apple store in London some years ago. People queued up overnight. They stood in the rain just to get into the store when it opened, because the marketing had created a hungry crowd who were predisposed to buy way before the doors opened and the products became available. That's fantastic marketing and a good example of a hungry crowd prepared to stand out in the rain. Not me, I'm afraid. So, my 3 M's of marketing, you would have seen this before. I've spoken about this. It's about finding the right market, working out what the right message is, and then through the right media communicating that message to the market, and the dollars will flow. That's all it comes down to, he says. So put that into a bit more explanation. The biggest mistake most people make is by starting off putting media first. Oh, I think I'll do some TV advertising. Oh, I've been sold on doing some radio advertising, or I've been sold on doing Google AdWords, whatever. We get sold by marketing companies and advertising companies to use their media or medium to do our marketing, but it may not be the best. So you don't start with the media or the medium, and you don't start with the message. You start with the market. It's about knowing who your target market is. And I've got a questionnaire which I will make sure it's on Trello that you can work through. You need to work through it in a bit of detail and give it plenty of time and thought to help you work out who your niche market is and exactly what it is that they want to hear from you and what you can do from them. And it's taken from something that a copywriter gave me years ago, and the really best copywriters out there who write up your copy for you will use something similar. We use something similar for business reports when selling businesses and things as well. So it's about getting down to the nitty-gritty. So it's the right message, right market, and right media. That's the foundations to all your marketing and results-orientated marketing. Don't start with the media. Your message, you've got 3 choices. Don't have a message, communicate the wrong message, or communicate the right message. Let's look at a bit more detail on that one. No message, so you're just putting up a website, you're putting up flyers or whatever that's got your name, your rank, your serial number on it. Basically, it's just saying who you are, how they can contact you, and I'm an accountant, I'm an auto service mechanic, or whatever. It doesn't tell them anything else. It doesn't differentiate you from everybody else in your category, and it doesn't give them a reason to respond. Or your marketing may have the wrong message. It's just the plain vanilla me too. I'm the best bookkeeper, best accountant, best auto mechanic, best carpenter, best brain surgeon around. It focuses on the product or service, not the customer's wants, needs or desires, and it doesn't separate you from the rest of the pack. So I'm covering off the mistakes before we get into a few of the how-tos. The right message is something that's unique and offers the customer a buying advantage. It tells them why they should come to you and none of the other guys in your category. And that's absolutely critical. So let's look at it a bit more. Have a compelling message that arrives in the form of marketing. So the message needs to come in the form of marketing. It's the core of every great marketing message. Something like fresh hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes or it's free. So that's been used. That's now more people are using that kind of thing, but it's telling people why you're different. There's nothing worse than waiting for an hour for a pizza and then when it arrives, it's pretty cold or lukewarm. You want a hot pizza, you want it delivered quickly. That's what the market wants. That's what this guy decided the market wanted or found out. That's what the market wanted. And then he sent out his message on that basis. And of course, you've got to make sure you deliver. John Hughes, great marketer. John Hughes is not a car salesman. John Hughes is a fantastic marketer. And years ago, he told us at a presentation how he developed his marketing and some of the values by which he operates. He asked his clients. Can you believe that? Who better to ask than people who buy from you? So he made sure that everybody who bought a car from any of his dealerships got a questionnaire, a satisfaction questionnaire with how they were handled in the sale process. The salesperson did not get their commission until you had filled in your satisfaction survey and sent it back. Then the salesman got paid his commission and they got ranked and feedback on the feedback that they got from their client. So if the client didn't mark them highly, then, as John Hughes put it, they got coached. If they got marked lowly, they got, in his words, seriously coached. But then over years, he realized that a lot of clients were saying the same words when they were praising the business and satisfied with what happened. So he took those key words that clients used and fed them back to them in his marketing. He said, this is what we stand for. This is why you come to John Hughes, not other car dealers, because he knew that that's what most of the market wanted. Brilliant. And then, of course, the other thing he's done is that you can buy a car anywhere. There are hundreds of car dealers in Perth. So he set up his marketing to say, look, before you choose your car, choose your dealer. And we're different because, and then fed back all those reasons that people liked dealing with John Hughes. Absolutely brilliant. Before you choose your car, choose your dealer. In other words, you can get a car anywhere, but before you choose your car, come and get the best dealer. I love that. Anyway, pick a battle you cannot lose, so don't try and make a better hamburger. Again, there's probably a lot of people out there, or a number of people out there, doing the same thing or providing the same service as you. And that's fine. It creates a market, it feeds the market. And if they're not doing it as well as you, then it creates opportunity as well. But don't try to focus on your product or service and be the better hamburger. Focus on being the better marketer, and you'll get the business. And then you can be the better service provider or provide the better product, and people will keep coming back and refer you. So you're not in a hamburger business, you're in a marketing business. You're not an accountant, you're a marketer. Start thinking that way. All right, I will get some feedback from you shortly. Just let me summarize the 3 M's again. All right, choose your market. An inch wide, a mile deep is something great to aim for. Get the message right. Get emotion into it. Talk outcomes, talk results, and call for action. And then when you've got that right, choose where do these people hang out? How do I reach them? There are better ways to reach different markets. It's not always Google AdWords. It's not always the media. It's not always social media or websites or internet. You've got to choose the media for your market. I hope that message has come across. Right, I've talked a lot. Let me just run another poll. Do you know if you have achieved a return on investment for your marketing that you have done? So when you invest dollars into marketing, do you know if you've achieved an ROI? So just respond to that very quickly. So we've still got a lot to get through and time's moving on. So I'll give you 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the votes are in. Close the poll. Share the poll. And it's shared this time. So, there you go. 25. That's a pretty, you can't get more even than that, can you? So, quarter of people said no idea, don't measure it. That's very honest, and thank you for that. You're not alone. I would say in the general market and the clients that I talk to and prospects that I talk to, I'd say it's a much higher percentage than that. You guys are a bit smarter than the average, obviously. But a lot of people spend a lot of money on marketing and got no idea whether it's working. It has been a waste of money. Yep, if you don't do it right, it is. It's pouring money down the drain. Yes, you may have had some success, and yes, it's definitely giving you an ROI. That's fantastic. The fact that you've got an ROI and that you know that. You've measured it and know it. So that's terrific. So thank you for that. Now, when you start thinking about your marketing and your copy and everything, this is a big one. Remember, it's about the prospect, not about the product or service. It's about the prospect and what's going on in their head, as it shows here. So when you're doing your copy or your marketing campaign or getting somebody else to do it, you or they need to get inside your best prospect's head. So having worked out who your niche market is, then now you need to start thinking like they do. Start thinking about what happens in their day. What's one of their days like? What's going on? What frustrations? What pain are they suffering? What do they really want fixed up? What do they really need help with? What's generally going on in their lives and in their business? And if you don't know, then maybe you need to go out and poll them, or you do some market research, or you get somebody to do some market research for you, or some mystery shopping, or there's loads and loads of different ways that you can find out what people want, need, desire. So get inside their head and help to make their life a lot easier, a lot more relaxed, overcome some of those daily issues, goals, or challenges. Don't underestimate the power. If you can add value, if you can help people make money, as I said before, you know, making money is a big search term on the internet. People are greedy. People want more and they don't want to do anything for it, so they need your help. I think I've laboured that a bit. So get inside the head of your prospect. Complete the marketing questionnaire. I'll put that up on Trello. And make sure you've all got access to that. I will put it into the resources section on the resources card so you know where to find it. That obviously is only available to people who are part of the mentoring group because it's a private forum. If you're not part of one of my mentoring groups and you're watching this and you'd like some more information, then just contact me. The details will come up later. So understand what their day is like, what keeps them awake at night, solve their problem or remove their pain, or present them with an opportunity that will get them excited. Follow these 8 steps, and this is really what the marketing questionnaire is trying to tease out of you. You know, identify your prospect's pain or the opportunity. What is or could their day really be like? When you've identified the pain, if it's pain you're going for, if it's opportunity, then you'll accentuate the opportunity or talk about what will happen if they miss out on the opportunity. But aggravate the pain by saying, what happens if you don't deal with this? What are the consequences? And can you live with that? And they probably don't want to. Even if they could, they probably don't want to, or they'd rather not want to. So then identify the solution. The generic one. You need a good bookkeeper, you need a good accountant, you need some good health products, you need some good help with your nutrition, whatever it is, with your marketing. That's the generic solution. But then talk about your specific solution and why your solution over and above all the others. This is your differentiator. This is your unique value add, your unique selling proposition. And then when you've done that, offer some proof that your solution works and it's better than everybody else's. Get testimonials from your clients all the time and use them in your marketing. Get their permission to use them. Obviously, there are some industries, healthcare, and some of those industries that I know you either can't use testimonials or you have to get affidavits signed or all sorts of different things or hoops that you jump through. There are other ways to get your proof out there in those industries. And then make an offer. This is where the response comes from, direct response marketing. Don't just put messages out there and hope. You've got to put the message out there, but you want something to come back, so make an offer. It could be a free report. It could be a bonus if the person acts now. It could be a discount if they act now. But give them an offer, preferably an offer that they can't refuse. And get them to do something. Put some urgency on it. Put a time limit or a quantity or a special offer or a special bonus. But get them to actually take action and contact you or to follow up, and give them different ways to contact you. Some people don't want to pick up the phone and call you. They might be happy to send you an email. They might be happy to go to a web page, a landing page on a website, and fill something in to get something or whatever. So offer them different ways. Maybe offer them a 1-800 number with a recorded message or something like that. Again, they're fairly cheap to do these days. And then, of course, offer them a guarantee. So if things don't work out, what's going to happen? And give them a cast iron guarantee. So don't put terms and conditions and things on it. People just ignore the thing if you start doing that. And if you honestly believe in your product or service, then you won't have any problem giving a guarantee like the, piping hot pizza within 30 minutes or your money back. There's the guarantee. So this slide's got a lot of writing on it. You will be able to go through it again later, but this is really summarizing the steps creating good copy. My recommendation is that unless you really, really excel, I know we've got Kerry, an editor, on the webinar. Kerry maybe have expertise to do this sort of thing, but again, go to an expert. It is a very specialized area, writing copy that actually works and gets results. Anyway, complete the marketing questionnaire. That's the first step, because that will get you to know your market in a lot of detail and work out what their wants, needs and desires are. You may have to do some research on that. Work out where they hang out. So where do they go to find out how to buy your product or service? It won't be the same for every category. And then know how you're going to reach them. So how, when you've worked those things out, do you get your message to them? When you're writing copy, make really, really good headlines that's going to get people's attention, and then a really, really good subheadline that's going to get them to read on. Stories work really well. Maybe you can use a case study or something that somebody else has done, or just something that's out there in the public arena. But stories work really well, but have a good subheadline that gets people to keep reading. Make offers compelling. make guarantees, no conditions like prompt refunds, courteous, don't argue with people when they're calling in the guarantee. You won't get that many. And again, research has shown that if you make your guarantee unconditional and you make it a longer time period, you actually get less people taking it up because they forget about it. And have a call for action in there, put some sort of urgency on it, get people to make a decision and do something now. Sorry about the detail on the slide, but it was the only way I could get it all done in the time. It's not about you, your product or service or brand. Think prospect, not product. Get in your prospect's head. Don't assume you know what your products want. Find out. Ask them. Don't assume why your existing clients buy from you. Ask them. Understand what their wants, needs and desires are, and never do any marketing without a call for action and without measuring the results. If you believe in your product or service, guarantee it. Choose your market, media, message. I think I've gone through that in a fair bit of detail. So we're now coming to the question and answer session. So I've gone through a lot of stuff. We are almost out of time, but I'm happy to take questions. Either raise your hand raise your hand if you'd like me to turn your microphone on, or type in a question or a comment. I see Bernie said that he's never marketed. Then Bernie, it's fantastic that you're still in business and hopefully doing okay. Just think how much better things would be if you did do some good marketing. So Kerry would like to say a few words. Kerry, your microphone's on.
Thanks, John. I'm wondering how you reach an elusive market. It's not like my people who I'm after are senior public servants or public relations managers in departments, and I'm wondering about how you can get in touch with them, identify them, get in touch with them without putting them offside.
Okay, then very good question. Thank you for that. I mean, some people, it's more difficult to market to them at work or in the business environment. Sometimes, Kerry, this is where, you know, social media or TV or radio or some other kind of medium is appropriate, because these people all have lives. They all, you know, do things outside of work. They all probably watch TV. They may get on the internet. So with them, it's probably a question of trying a few things and seeing what works. I know that having talked to a few marketing companies recently, I've been interviewing marketing companies with a client of mine to pick a company to basically outsource all their marketing to. And they were talking about, you know, people in the mines and things like that that don't have a lot of time, but they do watch TV when they're not working. They do get on the internet when they're not working. And as this one of the marketing companies, in fact, it's the one that has now been picked, said, you know, it's a question of working out when these guys are not going to be working, when they're going to be in front of the TV and putting stuff up that's going to appeal to them. So,
right, yeah. To me, that sounds like I should go to conferences.
Yeah, well, conferences.
That's where these people hang out.
Well, that's it then. Yeah, you've answered your question. Yeah, there's always something like that that these people will get involved with, and sometimes it's sporting events as well. And again, that may, like one client I've got as a private coaching client sponsors water polo. Why? Because a lot of the target market, for some reason, are involved in swimming and water polo and stuff. So they sponsor a water polo team and things like that. It's really gets down to that sort of level, you know. Mm. But yeah, conferences are a good one. Yep. And yeah, well, yes, having dealt with public servants, they like their little trips and things like that, don't they?
They do.
because they don't generally have to pay to attend conferences. So, but that's good. I'll turn your mic off now. Thank you for the question, Kerry. And Kerry used the words, where do these guys hang out? When they're not working, where do they hang out? What do they do? So thank you for that. Any more questions or comments or feedback? It really is a question of try it, measure it, change it. It's a bit like the quality circle: plan, do, check, act. So plan some marketing based on all the things that I've talked about and the marketing questionnaire. So plan it, do it, check to see what the results are and what the effects been on what's working and what's not working, and then take action, change it. If it's not working, change it. Don't just keep doing it, and don't get sucked in by some of the media people who will say, oh, well, of course, you've got to run this ad 6 times before it'll start to pay off. No. If you run the ad and you don't get any response, change it, or don't run it again, or find some other way to do it. They're selling advertising. They want you to keep advertising. That's in their interest, not your interest. So for goodness sake, if you do any of that paid media type advertising and it's not getting a result, stop doing it. Change it, do something different, change a headline. In the business broking world, we relied on internet ads and sometimes media ads to get prospective buyers calling us. And, if you did the ad and you didn't get any inquiries, then you didn't keep running the same ad on the basis, oh, well, if we run the ad 3 or 4 times, somebody's bound to respond. Well, law of averages said eventually somebody probably will, but it probably won't be good quality. So we would change it. We would go through on a regular basis and change it. And it was amazing sometimes how just changing 1 or 2 words in a headline or a subhead would suddenly get a response. So, there is a certain amount of suck it and see involved, but that's why you need to make sure that you measure every single thing that you do, because then you can change things as you go. Could Kerry use LinkedIn to find out who the marketing managers at specific departments are and then send a letter or a marketing piece? So I'll turn your microphone on again, Kerry. Have you tried LinkedIn for that?
That would be a great idea too. I've only recently started LinkedIn, but I haven't used it to its full extent, and I'm sure they would appreciate that kind of approach, which gives them some flexibility too.
Yes, that's right, and it's a nice, soft, gentle approach. On LinkedIn, and you won't be there unless you want to come along, Kerry, but at the next session that this group are having, Peter Butler's doing the session for me, and he will talk about LinkedIn, and hopefully he'll have time to cover some of the do's and don'ts and ways that you can use LinkedIn. So but I'm going to mute your microphone again now, Kerry. So yeah, that's a good point. LinkedIn is a good marketing tool, and it's free. You can pay the paid version. I never have. And in fact, I had an inquiry this morning when I woke up. There was an inquiry on LinkedIn from somebody in the UK wanting to know if I could run some seminar for them here in Perth. Sadly, it'll be when I'm in the UK, so I couldn't say yes, but it's given me a lead because I looked and they actually do a lot of seminars and things in the UK, and I would love to be paid to go back to the UK and see my mum and run seminars and make some money while I'm doing it. So I'm following that one up on LinkedIn. And again, April the 10th is your next workshop for the guys that are in that mentoring group, and Peter will cover some of those things off. So yeah, thank you, Nicola, for that input. All right, so we're over time. I'm going to wrap up now. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the next workshop. Attend with an open mind. Peter will go through a lot of things. He will wow you, I'm sure. He's a very entertaining presenter, facilitator. He'll do a fantastic job for me while I'm not here. But have an open mind to some of the things that he's going to tell you. Be prepared to share your digital media marketer. I have sent all of your names and website URLs to Peter, so he'll make a little bit of time and check some of those out before he comes along so that you can save time in the workshop. He's going to talk about websites that get results. His business is called Smarter Websites, and his website, or one of them, is smarterwebsites.com.au. He does a lot of work for clients on SEO, search engine optimization, social media marketing, email marketing, that whole area, and he gets fantastic results for people. So be prepared to have a good session, and I look forward to hearing about it all when I get back. The webinar for that session will be April the 29th, which is a Wednesday, and I will be back and I will be on that. Peter will be on it as well. We'll take questions and answers and recap some of the stuff that Peter's covered for you. So it will be a good session. For anyone who's watching this who isn't part of one of my mentoring groups, I run business owner mentoring groups, and I do one-on-one private coaching with clients as well. A variety of seminars and workshops. I facilitate sessions for businesses on strategic planning and all manner of other things. I just can't help myself. And I offer business buyer and seller advisory services based on the things that I learned as a business broker for 5 years. And of course, I wouldn't be doing the right thing if I didn't thank you. So thank you for attending and being here. And here's some of my social media, website stuff, and ways that you can contact me if you haven't already. On Twitter, I've got the business Twitter account, and I've got John Denton Perth, which is my social one, which is a bit of fun and interest stuff. So nothing too serious. So thank you all again. It's been fantastic having you on board. Sorry about the little hiccup with the first poll earlier on, and I hope it didn't detract. Hope you learned something. Look forward to seeing you when I'm back in April and seeing you on the next webinar. So I'm going to stop the... Where are my testimonials? They're on my website, Kerry. If you go to my website, you'll find a section on there called testimonials. Best place to put them. So I'm going to stop the recording now, and I'll put it up on YouTube for you to get access to in a little while.